Hey there, I'm going to do another quick reading, but before I get started, I'm going to go ahead and say my prayer. The light of God surrounds me, the love of God enfolds me, the power of God protects me, the presence of God watches over me. Wherever I am, God is. Okay, so I have 4 decks that I have already shuffled and cleansed and prayed over, and that's what we got. I have them in there, and I'm just going to cleanse them some more and just give them a quick shuffle. This is the Shamanic Healing deck that I'm currently shuffling, and that's one that I'll be using. Just try and get my markers over here so I can be sure that you can see them. And then this is the Shaman's Dream deck. And then the regular Kipper deck. Okay, that card just absolutely wants to come out, so I'm going to go ahead and pull it so that we have a mature woman. It's not the one I wanted to start off with, but that was adamant that it wanted to show its face. Yeah, I'm going to put it away. And we'll just start fresh. And then this one is the Green Witch's Oracle deck, which is really interesting. The cards are very expressive. You know, and there's this whole hype with, witches are evil. I don't claim to be anything. I'm not a witch. I'm a child of God. I'm a healer. So I don't subscribe to the witchery. I know they're good witches and bad witches, or whatever you want to call it. I don't participate in that. I'm just a child of God. I am the light. I'm a powerful light worker. And that's why Spirit has me and others like me awakening right now to the insanity that's carrying on in this world. And it is our calling to expose the Baphomet and protect children and the elderly and animals. So yeah, I'm gonna get started, and I'm gonna use the Shaman's Dream deck first. Like I said, let's go. So first up is the Caterpillar, which is number 4, which is also my life path number, and this is telling us that there's opportunity. I just want to make sure there's no glare. It's a very pretty card. I kind of have an amber light on, so hopefully that will negate some of the glare. So yeah, we're all going through. It says Caterpillar. So yeah, that's the Lyrans are waking up and tapping in and subscribing to their divine mission that Source has put us on. We're all going through a transformation by updating and recoding our DNA while we've been deprogrammed from the old system, the illusion of the matrix, and we're embracing new opportunities as our, we're going through ego deaths and, reawakening in heart spaces, or, that's what a lot of people are going through at the moment. So this card says that there's an opportunity. A caterpillar for me kind of makes me think of the whole chrysalis and the whole transformation that many are going through right now, that actually heeded the call when God reached out and said, hey, it's time to embrace your North Node and get on to your mission. And then we have many masks and the authentic self. So this kind of blends in really well with authenticity is the highest vibration that there is. Because if you are authentic, it means you value and appreciate yourself, which means you're not going to sell yourself short or become a clown in somebody else's facade or circus that they create. And we see through fake, and this is all part of this transformation that everybody is going through. The masks are falling off of people's faces, and our true selves are coming out. And God has a bigger mission for many of us. Oh, let's see what's on the bottom of the deck is the horned cactus. That's for resourcefulness, and it's kind of interesting. So there's an 11 and I have another 11 here. I'm not going to keep that one. I'm just going to shuffle it and continue going. Let's see. Then we have an 8. Stranger curiosity. Yes, lots of people are going to be reaching out to light workers for guidance and assistance as they do their inner work, which is also shadow work. And this is where we're at. We're all going to work together and embrace the many different aspects of ourselves. This is a very beautiful card, and you can see there is curiosity, lots of colors, and this is it's kind of cool because it's rediscovering who we truly are at a soul level, and finding our path. A lot of us have been on our path and we just didn't realize that we attracted demonic or evil people into our being or into our auric field, and this is how they expose themselves. And this is our mission, is just to be present in the moment and walk in authenticity, and the demonic forces will expose themselves when they come up against us. The only requirement for us is to walk in authenticity, embracing the love and light that source puts through us, and that's our mission, to expose the evil and let them exterminate themselves, because they come up against God's chosen, and that leads to their own demise. You're either going to heal and grow, or you're going to just take yourself out, because there's so many people that have had some criminal backgrounds, and they always thought that it was never going to come to the light, and apocalypse means unveiling of the truth. So anyway, then I have 5-5, which is also code for loud and clear, and this is the Father Gate. It's a bold step forward. Yeah. While we're embracing our new selves and our higher selves, which is us, those of us that are embracing authenticity. It is a bold step. We have to be strong in our constitution and our conviction, and stand up for those that don't have a voice, which, in this time space is mostly the elderly that are stuck in nursing homes, animals that are stuffed in zoos, and children that are being indoctrinated into these education systems that is all based on false pretenses and histories. So, that's the bold step forward that many of us are taking, and heeding that call, and hopefully exposing the corruption all around us. Then we have whale song, which is resonating. So the truth will resonate with those that hear it, because when you purvey truth, you will get chill bumps, or goose flesh, or chicken bumps, or chicken flesh, whatever it's called. Everybody has their own interpretation. But when you get those chill bumps and you can feel like shivers down your spine, that a lot of it is when your DNA has been upgrading, because you're purveying the truth. So, and whales are amazing mammals, and just like elephants, they're intuitive, and they singing this beautiful song into the oceans that was increasing the vibrational frequency. That's why Shell went on those insane missions where they were doing bombings and experiments under the ocean. It was actually drowning many of the the sea creatures, because those are weapons that destroy them. And that the purpose behind the whole Shell movement was to target the whales and dolphins because of their beautiful song that helps our Mother Earth increase her vibrational frequency while she heals as well. And then we have 13, which is the Dream 3 refusal of the call. So there are some people that are not heeding the call, and that's okay. You know, Dolores Cannon always told us that we're not here to save anybody. They actually have to do the work themselves, and that is the internal work, the shadow work that they have to do in retrospection. The reckoning isn't something that happens when you die. It is an ascension process that we're all going through right now because we are eternal beings. And your soul can't die. But then again, we also have many people that live among us that are soulless beings because they don't have a conscience. So, and those are the ones that are the refusal to the call. Another one. Then we have 52, which is straddling worlds, wandering between realms. When you're going through your awakening, you will feel like you're in a twilight zone because nothing quite makes sense, and everything you thought was real, you've coming to the realization it really wasn't. It is difficult, but we can do this. We're not alone. None of you are alone. You know, there's some of us that are way showers that have kind of had to bear the brunt of the difficulty. You know, those that have been singled out, pointed out, laughed at. It's okay, because we just let them, because it's exposing who they are. And as time goes by, those same people are going to have to, in retrospect, also do that internal work. Okay, let's see what's up next. I'm going to do another row of these. It's really beautiful cards. Then we have the Lost in Space. So that's needing direction. So again, it kind of ties in with the 52, which is straddling worlds. Kind of, you know, we're between the 3D and 5D, and it's the void is this 4D where we're now realizing that there are nefarious beings that live among us that do not have our best intention at heart, and these are the ones that are weeding themselves out, gratefully so. So needing direction is looking within. And like I said, it's learning to go within ourselves and forgive ourselves for things that we've done in the past. Some of us have never intentionally hurt people because it's not in us. But those that have a reckoning. You know, and a lot of people are not going to be able to do it. They realize that their crimes are caught up to them and they're going to have to go to jail. It's only jail, death, or a psych facility. Because there's nothing wrong with us. We're the light workers. We see through the illusion. We neurodivergence. We process information differently. And we're heeding a call, and this is why we are protected. We're exposing the corruption by merely existing. Then we have the first breath, which is the beginner's mind, which is also number 3. It kind of goes in with that authenticity. And, you know, I'm going to go with a caterpillar opportunity. So it kind of coincides for us to grow and develop and be the best versions of ourselves that we can be. And it's breathing. I get breathing exercises, which I don't practice very often. But it is something that we should work on. Usually inhaling over 4 seconds, holding for 4 seconds, exhaling for 4 seconds, holding for 4 seconds. Another breathing technique is the Wim Hof ones, which I usually will do 30 fast breaths, and then you hold your breath for 30 seconds, and kind of stimulates the dopamine receptor sites, and just brings a sense of peace and tranquility. And that's something that I really do need to get better at. And then we have card 44, which is the perfect storm, the courage to step into life. Yes, we are all embracing our new selves, and we are walking into being the best versions of ourselves. And those of us that walk in authenticity vibrate at a higher frequency because we walk in love. And love is the acronym for the law of vibrational energy. So God called for us to give up all worldly things, and those worldly things are toxic to our body, which is our temple, which is our own church, and our DNA is our own scroll. That's why it's so important to take care of your DNA, because that's our true history. And the A positive bloodlines are the most ancient alleles, and we are those beings from the ancient civilizations, and we are recharging the crystalline structures of our Mother Earth. And these are the folks that are getting the upgrades and the mental clarity, so that we can learn and grow from the past and make the future beautiful and bright for our children, so that they can have the best of the best, because they are the best. So that is the perfect storm. We have to encourage our children to step into their authenticity, and this is how the true leaders are able to learn and grow and help those that are not necessarily taught the right way. Then we have Dust Devil, moving out of stagnation. Yep. Well, there's some stuff that has to take care first. And then another one is repairing the body, mind, and spirit. This is the me talks. Again, this is like doing the internal work, finding it. It's really, if you walk in authenticity, people have a tendency just to dislike you for no reason at all. Well, no, there is a reason. It's because you see through their facade and you don't put up with it, and you choose not to be a monkey in their circus, if that resonates. I mean, when someone's been fake. Like, why am I going to waste my time at their entertainment when I know what they're doing is wrong? And if you call them out on it, they get even more upset. But then again, this is what light workers do. We are here to help people heal. They either heal and grow, or they don't. Then we've got the Fool's Embrace, which is transmuting pain. Again, this is all going back to the caterpillar, the lost in space, the needing direction. When we're doing the internal shadow work, you will have memories from childhood come up, and you become the observer of those thoughts, because it's a negative energy that's held in your auric field or in the ethers. So when you pull that to yourself, you can view it objectively and realize that a lot of our belief systems were based on falsities, and this is how you can forgive yourself, and then you learn and grow. And repentance is not, it's once you realize you're making a mistake, because this is how we learn and grow. We all make mistakes. And once you've identified that what you're doing is wrong, we don't do it anymore. It doesn't entail going to a church on Sunday, giving the church your money, and then you're going to pray for forgiveness, and then you go and you do the same old things in the new week, because there are some people that are absolutely convinced that as long as they believe that somebody died for their sins, as long as they believe what the preacher says, as long as they go to church every Sunday, and as long as they give the church their 10% of tithing, they honest to God believe that's their ticket to heaven, and be delusional. It's that it doesn't work like that. You have to embrace who you are and be the best version of yourself, and actually genuinely be a kind, caring, compassionate person. And a lot of us are. And then, of course, once you identify these people for who they are and you call them out, they're going to call you all kinds of names and say, oh, they're unreasonable, they're this, they're evil. It's not. It's just when you put your foot down and you stand in your conviction and constitution, it's going to irritate them, because they're not able to manipulate you or us. And this is where we're at. We're standing our ground. We're standing up for our rights, because we are sovereign beings, and they have no right to take away our freedoms and our free will. And then we've got the crown games, which is the right use of power. There we go. We are reactivating crown chakras, which is that pineal gland, which is the lamp of your soul. And if you give up worldly things, which is alcohol, reckless sex, nicotine, prescription drugs, vaccinations, anything that is poisonous to the human body needs to be disconnected so that you can get clear mental clarity. Because everything of this world is not of God. Source and this, our Mother Earth, has given us everything in a plant form. We don't need the chemicals. And it's all been a form of manipulation to control your mind, to recode your DNA. And there's this whole Baphomet insanity that they have been working towards in the perfect race, and the eugenics are these inbred designer silicone clones. Epstein Island is about cloning, and celebrities fake their deaths 3 times, I guess, so that they're risen in the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, or whatever. They have like a weird Luciferian religion. Well, and the Bible book is their reptilian religion, where it takes the flesh and blood of children and animals for sustenance, and that goes against the Creator. And the genes of Isis prior to the flood, where God commissioned us to take care of animals and for them to be our companions, and they are not food. Next up, let's see. So I have this one. Oops, let me turn them the right way around. And then we have the harvest, determination and hard work. So yes, as long as we do the internal work and we are good and kind people, and we always do the right thing. We don't turn a blind eye to corruption, and we always try to remedy it. Then we get to harvest the bright and beautiful things in the world. When it comes to soul contracts, the people that are going to be suffering right now, you have to understand that prior to them incarnating into this time space, they chose to live the life, the high life on the hog, with riches and material value and all of that, be greedy, and then they will suffer. That was their choice, was to experience abundance, even though it was through ill means initially, and now they have to suffer the consequences of their actions so that their souls can evolve, learn, and grow. And then there's some of us, the light workers, that chose no, we didn't. We were targeted by nefarious reptilian beings, but God let them, because he knew that at the end of the day, karma comes round and we expose all of the corruption, and this is for our children. So once all the corruption is gone, the evil is abolished, we know that our children are safe. And then we have, so yeah, you reap what you sow. And look, it's beautiful. It has the third eye little starburst on the card. It's very pretty. Again, it's a seed, a new seed that we're planting. Let me see what it says. It says planning, setting intentions, and optimism. It is this, we're all getting like-minded. Love is a vibrational frequency. It's a collective consciousness where we all want the same things and the very best for everybody. We don't pick and choose. We're truly just authentic and do as directed. So next up, we have soil, and which is stability and simplicity. So this is a grounding thing. Also, a lot of times if you're feeling overwhelmed, like so much energy and projections, or so much is coming up into your auric field, if you do gardening, it helps ground you, or just play with dirt. That's why so many people do enjoy gardening. I have no idea why there's a fly in here. It's the first time I've ever seen a fly. Must be one of those bugs. But yeah. Anyway, back to my card. So it's the harvest, sow, and soil. So we have bright things to look forward to. There are people that are going to struggle, but God told us not to have idols, and they're stubborn and hard-headed, and just let them. Like, it's pointless giving people your energy anymore. If they're going to get all tizzied up, they cannot comprehend higher intellect. It stimulates the amygdala, and we become a threat to them. But again, this is how they learn and grow, and how we learn and grow. It's just, don't give somebody else your power or your energy, because they don't understand. It wasn't their choice or their pick in this lifetime to evolve and grow. This was their soul contract. A lot of people are not going to make it because of the magnitude of the corruption and the genetic manipulations. And then we have the watering can, which is asking for help, sharing burdens. It's a little bit difficult to do that in some instances for light workers like myself, because you reach out and you ask for help, and instead of help, people call you crazy and they shun you. But then again, there's also nefarious people behind the scenes that are involved in a lot more, that thought they were getting away with stuff and they're really not. So, but we've let them expose themselves, because that's the point. We let them build the cases up against themselves because we are innocent, and God will protect us. Next up is winter. An ending, recharging, and reflection. And there's a cardinal. When I see the cardinal, it automatically makes me think of Tillman, because I think there was a higher mission here. And who knows, it was just, from, in retrospect, looking back, it was just also part of the mind twisting stuff. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. You know, the military does horrible things to good people, especially good men that don't want to conform to their way. Because if you want to be anybody of importance in the old system, you have to be willing to invert your children. And that's their weird Baphomet religion, where they believe that having two genders in one body represents their god, which is Baphomet, which is Baal, which is not at all the god that I serve. So there's a very, very cold winter at the moment. It's what we're all going through, and you know, we have to end the old system, the old ways, so that we can go back to our originality, before they domesticated us to the point of where people have no morals, values, or standards. And then after winter, obviously, we're going to bring in the spring, and it's new life, beautiful flowers. Those are tulips. Tulips need coolness. They're always so bright and beautiful, even when the air is like crisp and cold. It's always beautiful to see those pops of color. And then we have some eggs in a nest over there as well. So rebuilding, awakening, and a rebirth is what we all come into. And then obviously in the spring, it's new life. And that was really when Yeshua was born, was in the spring. It's more of those distortions and conversions. And I'm just gonna take the trunk, which is the word, which makes me think of Yelzrasal, which makes me think of Grandma Willow and the tree of life. There's always, and look in Avatar, there's always a tree, because it connects us to the roots of the earth and all the way to the air of the heavens. Trees are messengers, and trees are angels. They are sustenance. They provide us with the oxygen we need to breathe. And there's a trunk, stability, loyalty, and reliability. And there's a beautiful owl in there as well. So that's what I've got for that deck. Now let's see. This, like I said, was the shaman healing one. So it's a spiritual awakening. It's you know, the rebirth and the goodness of the world. And, you know, we want to stop this insanity. So, slow but steady. Slow but steady wins the race. It's slow going, but we can do it. It's rough. It's not easy. But once we know better, we do better. And this is how we learn and grow. So we have the inner journey. Yes, it's a slow and steady inner journey as we do all that shadow work within, so we can learn and grow and be closer to source. 17, that's my number, and it says feminine energy. Oh, there's a glare. Let me see. Can you see? I'm trying to get used to that. There we go. Yeah, there's a glare. Oh, check that out. So yeah, the divine feminine that's rising up in all of us. And you know, so many women, like, we've always had to walk in masculinity, and we're always on the defensive because we always have to fight for our rights, basically. And I just look forward to the moment where we can have real strong men, where we can let our guards down and let the feminine aspect of us, the gentleness, rise up within us again. It's difficult when you live in a world of misogynists, and where you kind of have to embrace that masculinity to stand your ground, because we have all these emasculated men that are gender confused, and they need help and healing, and hopefully we can deal with that soon. And the ones that laugh are the worst. The ones that you try and guide them the right way by telling them that eating dead things is really bad, but they laugh. And again, you just have to let them, because we know that that's the Moloch deity, spirit, principality that governs them. Because all animals that are slaughtered in abattoirs, like, no different to the Canaanite times. We've never evolved out of it. They slaughter animals and people consume the flesh. That is a sacrifice to Moloch, just like the children with, you know, the bloodletting with the Jews, and the Ruth Bader Ginsburgs that were pushing for full-term abortion so that they had a fresh meat, a fresh flesh and blood supply, and whatever they didn't consume, they would do what they've always done and feed the corpses back to the American population via McDonald's. That's why we have all these people with brain disorders, because flesh degrades brain tissue. But again, you can't reason with them. Don't even try, because it's either a calling and they heed the call, or they don't. It's the blood and the ill spirit of that beast that's governing them. And the Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the child sacrifice, that's what abortions are. And again, you know, once you know better, you do better. Sometimes some of us have been put in like really difficult positions where you've had bad things happen, and you're like, okay, so I was drugged and I had a bad experience, and you still like go through the motion of, well, no, I don't want to terminate the situation just because it was bad, but your parents and your family put you in a situation where they say you're either going to abort this cluster of cells, or you're going to get thrown out on the street and have nothing. So, you know, a lot of us were put in those positions where we really didn't have any other option, where our first option would have been to give up the child for adoption. And, you know, then there's just an instance where like ectopic pregnancies, that would make sense to end those pregnancies, because you can only end a life to save a life, in the grand scheme of things, and that is forgivable then. It's a very delicate, sensitive topic as well. So yeah, I mean, again, so many people are led to believe that, oh, it's just a cluster of cells, it doesn't live, it isn't anything until it draws breath. And that's probably one of the worst things that we've ever been taught, because life begins at conception, and that's when God starts coding the new life growing within woman, and we are the portals between the heavenly spiritual realm and this physical one. And that's why they target us so much, especially high value women that have, you know, integrity. There's a certain caliber of women that are in powerful positions, but it takes them to be glorified prostitutes. And all women pretty guaranteed in powerful positions are these honeypot traps that do sexual favors, which again is just immoral and unconstitutional, and just it's not what this country was originally built and founded upon, but it was run that way from the get-go. Okay, next card is, actually let me just shuffle them a little bit more. Okay, I got a little winged. Okay, let's see what I got. Next up is discernment, and this is what we're really developing right now. Everybody's learning to pay attention to how people act and do, and the narcissists are the ones that are like burning right now, because everybody that's pure of heart is seeing through their illusion and their manipulations, especially the psychopaths that have infiltrated leadership positions. They are super going to expose themselves because they can't handle the vibrational frequency changes, and the fact that people are waking up to their deception and calling them out. This is their right to call people out when you see them, and especially when their actions can cost you your livelihood. Of course you're going to start standing up to them. Next up is ancient wisdom, and this is what we are. A positive bloodlines are the most ancient. We are from those ancient civilizations, and this is what's reactivating within our DNA. We are the ones we've been waiting for. Okay, next up is the healing energy. Yep, and this is what we're doing. We're putting love out into the universe, and love is, you know, when people say, oh, love is love, man on man, woman on woman, no, that is an abomination in the eyes of a creator. And we only need to look to nature to see that a male and a female go together. This is part of the mental mayhem that's been inflicted upon the millions with subliminal programming, genetically modified foods, DNA recoding vaccinations, hormone treated water. Like, they just hit us at all places, and the ignorant will remain ignorant because they let their ego lead them, and that will lead to their demise. But again, it's because they didn't choose to evolve and grow. They chose to pass on, and they will reincarnate in the new world in a better time space, so that they can do what needs to be done for their soul to evolve next time, because they didn't make the mark. They missed the bus this time, if you will. They didn't heed the call, so now they have to recycle. And again, we're eternal beings, so yeah. All right, I'm gonna just leave it at that for right now. Then I have the death card, which is the death and rebirth. It means the death of the ego, and then we are being reborn in spirit. There's a death to the old system of this matrix and control, where the president is your 33rd degree Freemason, and that position is offered to the psychopath that's willing to sacrifice the most Americans or Africans or anybody else in the world. They plot out the most nefarious plan, I guess, and that's the one who wins the position. It's got nothing to do with your vote. Not a single American vote has counted since Abraham Lincoln. And this country was built on satanic morals and values 400 years ago. When the witches got off the Mayflower, they cursed this land for America to be the ultimate sacrifice, with this Baal and Baphomet and Luciferians and weirdos. These the AB negative bloodlines are the most nefarious. The low-hanging fruit on the tree, if you will. They will do anything for money. They don't have morals. They don't have values. They are demonic. They're low vibrational beings, and at the end of every eon, there's always a wipeout of lower vibrational beings, demonic forces, and this is how survival of the fittest is attained, and that way only quality DNA can continue on. Okay, I'm done with that one. There, so let's see now what the Kipper deck has got for us. Okay, so we have a 33, and there's an old man with concern. Somebody is in bad health. Oh, and there's a 31. Okay, so there's an old man that is in concern. There is an old man that's in concern, because I went to him for guidance and for help. His name was Bob Joyce. And those were my neighbors when I was a little girl. And I went and met with this gentleman in his church in Benton, Arkansas on September 11th of 2022. Those numbers all come up to 17, which is Q again. And I specifically asked him why these people were after me, why they were wanting me dead. And he just stood and listened. And I told him, I don't fear the dark. And at that point, Lisa Marie Presley was still alive. And then she died of a double heart attack. And, Spirit is telling me, well, yeah, she died because it was a backfire, because they ordered my death. And whatever they wish for me is reflected back on them. I'm a mirror. Like, whatever they wish for me, God will make sure happens to them. So I don't know. I guess, I don't like to be accusatory, but Elvis Presley faked his death, and he became John Burroughs, and he faked his death after 2004. They said he left the FBI, and that's in and around about when Patrick Tillman disappeared in that same year. And I don't trust any of them. So, and then, when I'm listening to the other starseeds, they tell me that these religious people are trying to unalive me. And I'm like, what is going on here? And then you realize, the Rainbow Nation is mostly South Africans, I guess, because it's everybody. It's everybody. I just feel drawn to South Africa because we were so targeted by this nefarious American government, and our heritages, our gold was stolen in sports and in everything. And then they peddled our innocent farmers. They were murdering them to starve off a whole nation of people. This was done by the American government and the American military. And people like Elon Musk and Charlize Theron that sold us out. They're not good. They're these transgender Baphomet Bowl worshippers. The Oscars are honoring the underworld god Sokar, and when they walk, the red carpet is symbolic of blood. So they win an Oscar for their performance when they sacrifice people, and that's exactly what they do in Hollywood. And that award is for sacrifice. Blood sacrifices. It's sickening once you realize how evil they truly are. Anyway, so we've got a concerned old man, that somebody is in bad health. Ooh, and let's see, we have a thief card too. What have they stolen from me? My inheritances, my spiritual and intellectual properties that they're trying to peddle off as their own. And this is why their bloodlines are cursed. And why the original bloodlines will get back what's rightfully theirs. Because it doesn't belong to America to steal. And they want to divvy out to those that don't appreciate anything. So again, this is going through a purification where people are going to, whatever they've put me through and the other light workers through, they now have to experience. So they will lose everything so that they can learn to appreciate what they do have. Heaven is not an easy place for people that don't know how to be real, and that's why they just have to do the internal work, and that's why we can do it, Okay, so concerned old man, he's in bad health because he's a thief. That's why he has bad health. And then it comes back to the sudden wealth, which is an angelic card. Sudden wealth, I said health, yes. Once we hit the 11th harmonic, when we go through the last galactic stargate, it will be like a twinkling of an eye, and all pathogens will cease to exist within our bodies, and pathogens are broken up, if you will, dissolved, dissipated at the 11th harmonic. That is why when COVID first came out, California had this weird thing, and I was like, why are they doing this? I heard that one of the city ordinances said that you couldn't have any wind chimes. And if you look into wind chimes and organs and string instruments, and anybody that makes music from the heart space, it naturally vibrates at 432 hertz, which is the love vibration. and it actually encourages health and wellness. And that's why they also did away with all the string instruments and the air instruments in churches, and they put that low-bowled organ in there that's low. Anyway, those are too many cards. Let's see what else we got. I got down to a buffalo. Next up, ooh, so there's imprisonment. I'm going to put this over here. To the thief, there's imprisonment. Once we go through all of this, it leads to sudden wealth. The sudden wealth is for everybody that vibrates in authenticity and wants to make the world a better place. So the system is designed beautifully because everybody that's heeding the call will know what God is wanting them to do. And the new technology can read intention. So all these greedy folks will have zero access until they change their attitude. It's glorious, actually. I think it's phenomenal. Okay, so then sudden wealth, and then we have a courtship. And for me, with the courtships, oh, it has a 4 as well. 4 cornerstones. And that's just, again, it makes me think of a communities. I don't have a community. The whole world, the whole globe, the whole cosmos is my community, because I'm here to uplift the spirits of everybody. And then obviously for those that stole from us from when we drew breath, they are just a fractal, and they're not of God. They sold their soul for fame and fortune, and basically they harvested from the chosen ones. So in order for us to live wholly and completely, they have to die. The scales have to be balanced. So in order for us to live, they must die. It's really not a difficult concept. These are things that don't have a conscience. They're NPCs. We don't cry over evil. I mean, they control the minds of humanity. Elvis was a groomer. He programmed women to lose their inhibitions, their morals and values, and that's why so many American women would drop their panties at a drop of a hat for a celebrity. It's immoral. It's unethical. It's disgusting. But again, this is how Hollywood has degraded women. It's all part of nefariousness. You know, they religion hate women. They're misogynistic. That's why they say amen. It's alpha men. Jesus and the Gnostics and Magdalene and the female healers would say so be it, or abracadabra, which is manifestation. We create as we speak, which is Q, which is the word of God that flows through us, which is honesty and integrity and impeccability, the 7 virtues. This is what makes us vibrate in a love vibration and brings us closer to spirit. And when we're so grace and gratitude for all that we have, I mean, this is why God created the world, was for us to do things that bring us joy and happiness, and this lifts up our spirit, and this brings us closer to God. That is the purpose of this human experience. Let's see. So let's get some clarification on this imprisonment and the thief and the concern. Clarification on the concern, the imprisonment. Woo, there's... Okay, I'm going to go ahead and take these. So there's a false person. That's occupation will lead them to poverty. And then I'll get the message of concern. Okay, so there's a false person. The occupation would lead them to poverty, and that's the message of concern. We have to be careful who we help in the future, because those that are going through hardship is punishment from source. God punishes those in peril because they need to learn a lesson. And then in our cases with the light workers, we've had all these demonic forces take from us, and now God is going to take from it. They were here to learn a lesson. They were here to expose themselves. They're nasty, dirty, low-life beings that God is going to take out in one fell swoop, which is beautiful. Oh, and then there's a message of concern to the privileged lady. Privileged lady would be myself and any of the other of the original bloodlines. For this one, to me, it's okay. So there's a message of concern to the privileged lady, and let's see confirmation or clarification on that. Yeah, privileged lady, that's my thoughts. Oh, and look, there's art, and my whole desk over here is also set up for my art supplies. Okay, oopsie. Let's see what we have. And then there's a family room. Families all coming back together so we can work together in the communities. And there's a child. I love this card. This card reminds me of myself when I was a little girl, and my number is 18. It's Leilani Ulofse, comes to 144. We stack the 4s and we get 18. 1 and 8 is 9 is the Most High, which goes back to Psalms 82:6, which tells us that we are all children of the Most High God. So we are all Jesuses, or Yeshua. There was nobody by the name of Jesus. The letter J didn't exist until the 16th century. But there's Yeshua, or whichever one you want. It's a spirit. It's the goodness of God that flows through our veins. You're either a good person or you're not. Let's see. Anyway, so we got the child family room. And then we got a message. So we got a letter. And then we're going on a journey. Whoop, whoop. Yeah. Oh, there's a lover's card is coming out as well. And next up, despair. There's a puppy over there. Okay, clarify despair. Please clarify despair for me, Spirit. Please clarify despair. And let's do that. Despair. Ooh. Okay, so the despair brings me back to the coffin, brings me back to the message of concern. We've got this old man over here that's in bad health, deep in contemplation. 33. 33 is the master number. In my case, my father was Yeshua. He was an ascended master. So was my mom. They had their number 33s. But then we have to look at the 33rd degree Freemasons that are nefarious, dirty, and evil. And that's why God is exterminating them for crimes against humanity. But again, so he has an old man in despair and the coffin card. So I guess there are going to be deaths, obviously. At the end of every eon, those that do not vibrate in authenticity, they cannot come with us. That's why they needed to cut off the timeline. They needed to sacrifice me so that my people, so that I would stop programming the crystalline grid structure of the earth. So when I actually went to meet the old man, Bob Joyce, and I told him that I was not afraid of the dark, I thought this was somebody that had my back. So, and I told him to his face, I don't fear the dark. At that moment, because the biggest crystalline quartz cluster on the earth is in Arkansas, I reset time, which now started their unspiraling. And in the beginning of this year, when I was taken into custody under false pretenses with a 100,000% fake case that was built up against me, I let them, because I knew that that was the opening. With them lying under oath is the end of the entire satanic sect known as the United States of America. Unfortunately, this is the biggest realization that people are going to have to come to reckon, is that they've been misled. Your president has been your handler. They are liars, they cheats, they thieves, and we don't need to be governed. And now we know better, we do better. Anyway, so getting back here, just for clarification on the coffin card, death and despair. We have the high honor again. It's okay. High honor for who? The courthouse. The courthouse have to do the right thing. They have to give us what belongs to us rightfully, and that is the pathway to my house, to our higher selves, to our crown, which is all of our enlightenment. And then we come together in the community so that we can rebuild and make this world a better place. Then we also have distance horizon, so traveling, we'll be able to go wherever we like on this earth. What's for me being Q, and everything that belongs to me also belongs to you. Everybody that vibrates at the same frequency, what's mine is yours. We share it. There's no hogging, there's no greediness, and the people that embrace that low vibrational stuff, is the whole greedy mine, they will cease to exist. They're not welcome in the new world, and that's why they will perish. God has given everybody the opportunity to learn and grow and be the best version of themselves. And if they don't, then they can't come with. It's okay. We don't cry. We just thank them for their contribution in the Great Awakening, and we'll see them next time. We'll see them on the other side. Okay, so then I've got an official person, again with the community. The official person, marriage. A marriage is not got nothing to do with the judicial system. A marriage is between two people and our creator, or it's also a marriage, a divine marriage within each of us, where we are balancing the masculine and femininity and embracing who God made us to be. Yes, of course, there's an unexpected income. They have to give us back what rightfully belongs to us. They can't continue to steal and create on our essence. And there comes in a great fortune. And let's see, the mature man, that's an official person, is going to bring us the unexpected income and our great fortune. And that is it for now. All things bright and beautiful for you and yours, and we'll chat later.